Welcome back to another episode of Blackbird Poker. I try to squeeze blood from an orange in today's session, and well, see for yourself. Without further fooling, let's get that bread. After losing a few hands and trying to avoid getting hit in the face from the guy in the 8 seat, waving his big stack all over the place, I looked down at a not too bad hand of ace-jack offsuit. Under the gun limps in, and I make it a gator tooth to go. I feel good about my sizing here because just a few hands ago, it was raised to $20 pre-flop, and I got 5 callers. And the winning hand was a pair of 10s on an ace-high board. So even though ace-jack isn't my favorite hand to play from early position, I'm thinking perhaps I can jumpstart my session with a good flop. But what do I know? Everyone folds, including the under-the-gun limper, and I settle for a small scoop. I get to put my thinking cap on in this next hand as I look down at ace of spades, king of diamonds from the hijack. It's straddled, and the low jack limps. Well, that dog don't hunt, so I bump it up to 25. It folds back around to the under-the-gun straddle, and he takes another look, hems and haws a little bit, likes what he sees, and he joins the parade. Heads up to the flop of 7, deuce, 3, rainbow. When under the gun checks, my first instinct is to c-bet. Given that I was the pre-flop aggressor and in position, that's usually the standard play for me. I decided to forgo that strategy for a couple of reasons, though. First, I've played with this cat plenty of times, and I have seen his hands, and I'm telling you that any trash could be what he's holding. This man loves to play garbage. I've seen him win pots with 9-3 offsuit. I've seen him lose pots with bottom pair deuces with a 7. It's just crazy, man. So his range is so wide, I could be up against anything. You never know. Secondly, the time he took to look at his cards before calling my $25 pre-flop. Some players have timing tails, often thinking about their next play with marginal hands and acting all giddy and excited when they have a premium. Given the length of his pre-flop decision, middling marginal hands like combos of maybe 7-6, 7-5, 6-3, and so forth could be in play here. I check, and the turn brings in the jack of hearts. Before the card is even flat on the table, under the gun checks as soon as he gets a glimpse of the paint. So, what's his range here? Is he scared of the jack, or is he anxious to see if the next card is a heart? It's possible that if he does have a pair, the jack put him behind. But I think that the likely scenario is that he actually may have had a slightly stronger starting hand pre-flop. Decent hands that don't have a jack. I shift my thinking to modify his range a bit. Now connectors that contain a 7, combos of 7-5, 7-6, and 8-7, and jackless combos with possible heart draws like King 10, King 9, Queen 9, maybe even Ace 10. Those might be what he's holding. The beautiful thing about those king and queen combos is that I beat all of them right now. Depending on what the river brings, there's a high possibility, or at least a little one, that ace high may be the best hand. I check. The river is a deuce of spades. Given my thought process up to this point, trusting my read means that he either has 7s up or I win with ace high. I'm happy to check at the showdown, but he has other ideas when he throws out $25 for about a half-pot size bet. I don't buy it, man. He was okay with the pot staying just as it was for 2 streets. Then suddenly a river deuce is the money card for him. Come on, man. Who you trying to fool? But then again, could he have a deuce in his hand? Yes. Does he? I don't think so. Not on my watch. He ain't no Mark Twain, because that story he's trying to tell just absolutely sucks. I make the call, and he waits. Not exposing his cards, he don't want to show it. I remind him that he is first to act, and I sit on my hand until he decides on what to do. Him not wanting to show his hand reinforces that my ace high is probably good, but begrudgingly, he turns over king five of hearts, and I take it down with my ace high. A few orbits later, and I look down at ace queen. The straddle is on, and I hope to put my shiny new chips to good use. Under the gun +1 calls. I ain't Taco Bell, so no cheap eats here. I make it $12 to go. Everyone folds. God dang it. This is a bit of a turning point for me mentally. I haven't had many playable hands, and for whatever reason, my patience is wearing thin today. Instead of remaining vigilant, I decide to widen my range a bit. Of course, I once thought it was a good idea to feed a wild coon from my back porch. That was a horrible idea, too. In the big blind, I look down at 9-5 of hearts. Under the gun, min raises to $4. The cutoff, Button, and myself, we all call as we go 4 to a flop. Now, I would be doing y'all an injustice if I didn't say that this hand and a few that follow are less than ideal and shouldn't be played. Learn from my mistakes and be better. The flop comes Jack, 6, 4, rainbow, and it checks around. In another card room, I would take this as no one hit the flop. But so many regs here check the best hand on the flop, so caution is warranted. I feel a bit better when the 5 of spades shows up on the turn, and I go all Ricky Bobby and stab at it with a half-pot sized bit. And like Ricky Bobby, I look down and see that all I did was stab myself in the leg when the button raises to 4 gator teeth. The button is a reg, and an old reg at that, and he was just waiting for someone to do what I did so he could bump it up. Regardless of what he had, it's a great play. I fold and move on to the next one. My chips are continuing to dwindle when I look down at 6-4 clubs in the low jack. It folds to me, and I throw out a small 3x raise and the hijack calls. The button asks how much I open for, then raises it to 15 smackaroos. The small blind folds, and the big blind comes along with me in the hijack. Now it's a $62 pot, and I have 6-4 suited with 2 players to my left. Absolutely excellent. Oh, wait just a damn minute. Perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps Poker Jesus is smiling upon me when I flop 6-5-3 with 2 spades, giving me top pair and a draw. This flop is great for my range. Unfortunately, it's also great for the hijack as well. The big blind has been a bit all over the place, so I don't put him on anything too strong at the moment. I put the button on a much stronger hand pre-flop, leaving him to miss all of this flop. When the big blind donks for a measly $10, that tells me he really wants to see another card. So, what's his range? The answer? A draw. Straight or flush, but a draw nonetheless. I feel I have the best hand here. The hijack only has about 70 left in his stack, so I think that if I raise it up, he'll go all in with a made hand or perhaps a monster draw. The 4 of my hand helps if he has something like ace-7, but I could also be crushed here, as he could very likely have a set or something like that. We'll see. I re-raise to $40, and I'm not too thrilled when the hijack snap calls. Now, he didn't jam, so he's okay being pot committed with 2 cards to come. But he needs to see another card, at least that's what I'd imagine, because I think he would have jammed otherwise. The button quickly gets out of the way, and the big blind takes a long think about it and makes the call. With almost 2 Benjamins in the pot, we go to a turn that's the 10 of clubs. When the big blind checks, I take a moment to consider my next play. The big blind has about 130 to 140 left in front of him. The hijack to my left has 35, give or take. No matter what I do, I can't see a scenario where the hijack doesn't go all in for his last 35 bones. If he is on a draw, checking to him would possibly let him see a free card. If he has it already, it's going to cost me $35 to see the river. If he jams, and with almost 200 in the pot already, that's an easy call. The question I need to answer is what sizing should I make it with respect to the big blind? I've already established that he is on some sort of draw and wanted to see another card for cheap on the flop. Using that logic, the 10 didn't hit any of his possible draws he could be holding. If he was floating my $40 flop bet with overcards, he would have to have combos that included 10. Ace 10 to Jack 10, possibly suited in spades. I decide that $50, a little more than a third of his stack, is enough to get him to fold. This is a mistake. Not in the bet itself necessarily, but in my process. I got so hyper-focused on his stack that I didn't review the other variable, specifically that a $50 bet plus the inevitable all-in for 35 from the hijack would give him great odds to call. If I could have this one back, I would have put him all in here. When I make it 50, the hijack puts in his remaining 35, and the big blind calls with only about $40 behind. With 300 and some change in the middle, the river brings in the 8 of spades. The big blind checks and flips up ace 4 when I check behind him. Though the 9 or 4 didn't come, if the hijack had 8-7 or spades, he now beats my pair of sixes. I rake in the small side pot, and the hijack still hasn't revealed his hand. I'm thinking he is going to fold, and he almost does. Then he asks the dealer what the winning hand is. She says a pair of sixes, and he flips over 8-7 for a rivered pair. Oh, I am disgusted, and I am so flustered that I try to give the side pot back. The dealer says, "No way, that's your badge of shame for making a great read and getting sucked out on. You take it, boy. Take it. Wear it and like it." I scoop the 30 and watch the other 300 go to the other guy, and I call for service to order a Diet Sprite. The good thing to come from this hand is that with the $30 I won in this pot, I'll have just enough to order a second Diet Sprite later if I want. I'm in the big blind again, and I look down at Mr. and Mrs. Frosty. The cutoff limps, and I make it 11 to go. Just the cutoff comes along, and it's heads up to a flop. We can't find the Frosty's cousin on the flop when it comes ace, jack, 4 with 2 diamonds. Though I missed, I bet about half the pot, hoping to get a fold from weaker hands with no diamonds. The cutoff snap calls, and the turn is a 9 of diamonds. Well, if he floated with diamonds, he just got there. Though it's possible the third diamond may have scared him if he has an ace or a jack. I check, and the cutoff says, "I see you have a little bit of Sprite left. Oh, why don't you get out of my pot and go finish it?" He makes it 40 to go. There's no doubt in my mind that he has a flush. It's possible he has just an ace or a jack, but most likely a flush, and a strong one at that. I fold and retreat back to the comfort of my carbonated beverage. I continue to try to force things to happen when I pick up 9-7 of hearts on the button. The hijack limps in, and I raise it to a gator toot. The small blind ain't scared, and the hijack comes along too. The board pairs with a king, 10, and a 10 on the flop. You know how I feel about them paired boards. I love 'em. I intend to c-bet for about a pot-sized bet, but the hijack decides to rain on my parade by betting 25 into 30. Jamming here would be even more reckless than I've been previously, as I only have about 130 to 150 in front of me, and the hijack has close to, I'd say, close to, if not a little bit over 600. With no pair, no ace, and no draw, I fold. With the flicker of hope slowly fading in the distance, I do my best to contain my eagerness to jam when I look down at ace-king in the hijack. Under the gun +1, a tighter player who mostly plays tournaments makes it $6 to go. I have a good read on this player, having played with him in a lot of tourneys and a little bit on low-stakes cash. He could easily have a premium hand here. He often does the old limp jam and mid-raise jam with strong pairs or suited ace-king, sometimes suited ace-queen. So when he throws out $6, I 3-bet him with the intention of calling his jam if he does it. I 3-bet to 26, and it folds around to him, and he thinks about it just for a bit, and then jams all in. The bad news is that I'm beat. The good news is that I could have 2 overs, and it's a race. I'm just happy that I can either double up or get about even and then leave. Or I could just lose it all and leave. Either way, I'm done with this session. I've had my ass kicked. I'm ready to go either way. Hopefully it's with money, but you never know. I call, and I flip over my hand only to be disappointed when he flips over a pair of kings. Them dang Cowboys, dang it. The runout stays in line with the rest of the session and continues to insult my pride as it runs out just like this. And that does it for this session, fellow grinders. I hope you were able to learn something today, whether it be what to do or what not to do. Thank you for spending time with me, and stay tuned for the stats and the folds. Hey, your likes and subscriptions are appreciated, and I appreciate you guys a lot. Don't ever forget that. Oh, and remember, whole hog if you got it.